Hello, good morning. I hope that everybody is well. It's been a fabulous week weather-wise in Cornwall. The sun has shone. It's still been cold, but having that sunshine when you're out and about and just sort of lifting your face up to the sun, it's such a feel-good thing. It really sort of has lifted my spirits tremendously this week. The other thing that we're very pleased about is that Ray has his appointment for his second vaccination on Monday, tomorrow, and I cannot express how relieved I am that he's going to be fully vaccinated. I've been very, very worried about my husband catching coronavirus. I'm more worried for him than for me. I can't not mention Prince Philip's, the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral yesterday. Wasn't it touching? It really, really was. What a great man he was. And our poor Queen, she looked so frail when she stepped out of her car to go into the chapel. God bless her. Okay, some more positive things. This week we released the absolutely stunning Queen of the May for 2021, Matilda Swallow. Matilda was reproduced by Sandra and stitched by Judy Hall, and she really is a collaboration of hands across the sea. When Sandra and I chose the name for our design studio, we felt that Hands Across the Sea represented what we were. We work with our hands and we're scattered around the world. Okay, so let's talk about Matilda. Well, first of all, let me show you her close up. Judy's stitching on this sampler is truly, truly exquisite. So much colour, and these are the colours from the front of the sampler. Now, I haven't got the original sampler here any longer to show you, but if you look back through my Flosstubes, probably about 2 years ago, I showed this sampler when the original sampler when I received it. Very, very beautiful indeed. Some beautiful colours in this sampler. I love that little house, that little cottage. And of course we have the Temple of Fame. And for those of you who have stitched Elizabeth Weston, you will know about the Temple of Fame, because Elizabeth Weston is also a Temple of Fame sampler. And Elizabeth also has this cartouche on her sampler. So we believe that Elizabeth Weston and Matilda Swallow are connected through a needlework teacher. Such an amazing sampler. This will be a beauty on anybody's sampler wall. I wish she was on my sampler wall, but I can't have them all hanging there. Let me just pop her back because she's heavy. Now, Matilda is a printed booklet and a PDF. The booklets are in the stores now, and for those stores that buy from distributors, the distributors do have a good supply of these booklets. It is a really beautiful booklet as well. And it goes back to our usual format. It comes with a bookmark which has a label on the back that you can put on the back of your finished sampler to record your details. It comes with some background information, and it also comes with a comprehensive stitch guide. Matilda used predominantly cross stitch over 2. There is a little bit of over 1 cross stitch which is in the verse and on the shepherd's face. Then we have some Algerian eyelets, some satin stitches, a handful, and it is only a handful, I think it might be either 4 or 5 French knots. And then we have this unusual stitch that's around Matilda's name that forms that beautiful cartouche. And the stitch, you need to break it down into an elongated lazy daisy stitch, a cross stitch and some back stitch. That's all it is. That's a lazy daisy stitch. It's a loop stitch that's fastened by a little tack stitch, but Matilda's lazy daisy stitches are elongated, they're long skinny ones, and where they meet in the middle you place a cross stitch over and then you back stitch around the cross stitch, and that's what you create. Very, very simple. All embroidery stitches, they break down into legs, and for me, if I have a big project in front of me, I have learnt over the years not to look at it overall and feel overwhelmed, is to take it down into bite-sized pieces that are easily manageable. And that little stitch in Matilda is very easy to do when you break it down into bite-sized pieces. Now, Judy stitched Matilda on, let's have a look, I believe it was, do you know, my mind's gone blank. I've got a funny feeling this was stitched on 36 count linen. If it wasn't 36, it was no more than 40. And we used Soie d'Alger from Overa Soie, and this sampler is a celebration of colour. So you do use a lot of colours. There are 38 different colours in this sampler, but it's what makes it so stunning. In the booklet, we have provided conversions for Soie 103 and for DMC. Now, because we're governed by space on our booklets, we have given the thread usage for, I do say, 40 count linen, and it was 40 count linen that this sampler was stitched on. But on Matilda's web page, if you go into the thread legend, we've broken down the thread quantities from 46, 40, 36 and 28 count using 1 or 2 strands through 103 Soie d'Alger and DMC, so you can go there for a more comprehensive breakdown. Now, on the PDF, because we are not governed by space, when you print booklets you have to work in sets of 4. So if you go over a page, you have to put in another 4 pages. So, you know, we are constrained. With PDFs, we're not. On the PDF download, you get the full thread conversion for all the different counts. What else? Linen. We would recommend using Legacy's linen, and if you wanted to stitch that in 30 count, it would be Victoria Sponge Cake. In 37 count, it would be Corn Tassel. 45 count, it would be Foxdale Millet. And in 53, 63 count, it will be Sycamore Sea Pod. So you've got a nice range of different counts in similar colours. And it will be beautiful, I promise you. This is such a lovely sampler. We felt the moment we saw her that she had to be Queen of the May. And this sampler was actually finished before Queen of the May last year was released. We've been sitting on this sampler for well over 12 months, but we really felt that she deserved to be crowned the Queen of the May. Stitch count, 364 stitches by 422 stitches. We have found Matilda. She was born in Hertfordshire in Bengeo. Now I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's Bengeo. It's somewhere I've never been and I had never heard of before I started to research Matilda. She was baptised on September the 6th, 1807. We know her parents were William and Anne, but we don't know really anything about Matilda after her baptism. She was possibly a servant working in London. We're not 100% certain, but it's very, very possible that Matilda could have moved into London to work as a servant. A lot of people moved from the countryside surrounding London into the city, into domestic service. There was this migration into London as London exploded in the Industrial Revolution. If we have found the right Matilda, she never married and she died in 1847. It's every possibility that is the right Matilda, but I can't put my hand on my heart and say with 100% or even sort of 95% certainty. We hope you enjoy her, and we're so looking forward to seeing your Matilda being stitched. Okay, she's in the stores, she's on our website as a printed booklet, and she's also on our website as a instant PDF download as well. Okay, so what else has been happening this week? I had a message from somebody asking me why I haven't shown Anne Morison this month. Well, in a couple of days, well, not a couple of days, in a week's time, I have to go away on a business trip. I've got a business meeting and I'm going to be away from home for 2 nights. And I thought Anne would make a really lovely travel project for me this month. So it's not that I have put Anne to one side. I've just earmarked her for 2 nights in a hotel when I'm by myself. And I'm going to work on her then. I had a huge number of samplers to pick up from my framers this week. I had a little bit of a splurge on having museum glass put into some of my old samplers, so I gulped when I saw the bill, but I'm trying to do so many per month. And I also picked up Harriet Gobey, and I am so thrilled with that frame. It really complements this little sampler so well. This week I wrote Harriet's story. I had done my research the moment when I first saw this sampler. I did all my research, and I will talk about this little sampler probably next weekend when we release her. And then the other sampler I picked up was Tom's Foillery, and I'm so pleased how that's looking. I'm not sure when we're going to release this one, but I know there's a lot of people very anxious to start stitching it, so it is in my mind to get this done ready for release. Stitching wise, I've been working on Lucy, and this sampler is fabulous. I'm really, really enjoying this sampler. The colours all come from the front of the original, but the leaves of the vine and the leaves and stem of the strawberries had actually turned a mustard colour on the front, and when I looked at the back it was this green, so I pulled the original colour through from the back. but all the other colours that you see on this sampler are the ones that are on the front. She is just, she has such impact. Really, really enjoying her. Now, last night I stitched this motif, and I stitched my basket by filling out the outlines first, and then I filled in the strawberries and the pattern on the base of the basket. I like doing it that way because I can have times of, you know, sort of concentration where I'm counting, and then I could have like a switch off time where I was just colouring in. Love this sampler, and I also think this is a fabulous piece of linen from Ducas of Exude Design. The vintaging on this piece of linen is really, really lovely. I'm enjoying this one very, very much. Right, now the other thing that I have been doing this week, I have been very, very busy and wrapped up on reproducing this beautiful, beautiful sampler which we talked about last week. If I had one email or message, I received 100. Honestly, I have been inundated with people asking me about this sampler and saying, please, please, please reproduce her using the back colours, which is what I have done. In the UK, we're allowed to get together with people now outside, so I've been walking with my friend Sue, who's also a needleworker, and she really loves the history behind these samplers, and we were sat in a field 3/4 of the way around our walk. Well, we were sat down because we were walking up a field that was like that, and we got 3/4 of the way up and we ran out of puff, so we sat down and we had like 30 minutes and we were talking, and of course most of our conversations is about needlework or about history. And Sue's stitching a model at the moment where it's been reproduced with the back colours, and Sue said to me something that really clicked in my brain and has stayed with me. She said she was so glad that I had reproduced the sampler that she's model stitching from the back, because she liked to think that the little girl Mary who stitched her sampler, that if she saw the model being stitched, that she would recognise it as her sampler. And do you know what? That is really, really important, that the little girl who stitched the original sampler recognises that it is her sampler that we are reproducing and stitching today. Now, this sampler and this sampler, although it's the same, this is so much different. So we have, you know, we had to use these back colours. Many of our samplers we reproduce from the front. This is the front, this is the front. You know, probably there's more than 50% of our portfolio that's being reproduced from the front, but there are some you just have to use the back colours. I am going to finalise my colours today. She is completely charted. I have put in some really long hours every day working on this, so she's charted. I have my provisional colours, but when I'm charting my eyes get very tired, and when your eyes are tired you don't always see colour properly. After I've walked my dogs today, I'm going to sit down. The light is really good today for colour selection, and I'm going to finalise my colours. But this is my provisional palette. Just put those down a minute and I shall show you. Get them in order. So that is my provisional palette with this sampler. Beautiful colours. Really, really lovely. This run of colour is gorgeous. You know, when you look at the front of this, you would never dream that that colour is in this sampler, yet it's there. This sampler, the colours are truly, truly gorgeous. I love this shade, but do you know what? If you look in the DMC shade card, there is not a colour, there's not this shade that matches. There just isn't. There's close, but none of these actually capture the beauty of this colour. You could probably see this colour. Oh gosh, it's difficult to show it here, but none of those is perfectly right for this. Needlework and reproducing samplers is so often about a compromise, trying to get the best match that you can. But I'm really, really pleased that I think these are the right colours. I've been looking at them for the last 7 days, but I will make my final decision today with fresh eyes. I need to say a big thank you to somebody, but I don't know who they are. This week I received an envelope. When I opened it, there was the most beautiful gift inside. Look, it's a face mask with 2 boxer dogs. Oh, that's just absolutely adorable. I rang the lady who makes these to see if I could find out who gifted this to me, but she couldn't really tell me. She had no contact details, which I thought was really strange, because if somebody's ordered something you think they'd have contact details, but maybe she was just hesitant to give me somebody's private information. Whoever you are, thank you so much. This is fabulous. I love it. It was so kind and so thoughtful. I would normally like to thank you personally, but I don't know who you are, so please let me know. Little kindnesses and, you know, people putting thought into things, it means such a lot. Brilliant, I love it, and I'm going to wear it when I have my couple of days away, keeping it for something special. Okay, that really is about it for this week. I've had a few goodies come, but I'm going to save those for next weekend's Flosstube. I hope that everybody is well, that your life is opening back up, that you've managed to get your vaccination. I can't wait to get back to going into a restaurant to eat. You know, the thought of eating something that I haven't had to cook, it's so exciting. It's those little things in life that really matter. Enjoy Matilda, and thank you to everybody who has sent us messages congratulating us on the release of Matilda. We do appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to start to waffle now, so it's time to say goodbye. Stay safe, stay well, and if God is kind, I'll be back next week. Bye-bye.